Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. How's it going? Good? I hope so, because sure seems like a lot of bad shit is happening, but whatever. Today we're gonna talk about something that I think we can all take as a learning experience. I actually have a full video about my opinions on tracing in case you want to hear all my thoughts about it. I'll link it in the description. So yeah, the topic of today's video is how an artist who won Genshin Impact's Winter Art Contest entered traced art. But before we get into it, I just want to leave a few disclaimers. All of my sources are linked down below as always, but if I get anything wrong or I'm missing something, make sure to correct or add to it in the comments kindly. I'm only human and I'm trying my best. I also want to add that please don't harass or send hate to anyone I mention in this video, even though I think the main person we're going to talk about in this video has deleted all socials. It's not helpful, and as I mentioned, I think this is an opportunity to learn and grow. Okay, so for starters, some of you might not know what Genshin Impact is, so let me read from Wikipedia. Genshin Impact is a free-to-play action RPG developed and published by MiHoYo. The game features a fantasy open-world environment and action-based battle system using elemental magic and character switching, and uses gacha game monetization for players to obtain new characters, weapons, and other resources. It came out September last year and has been very successful for what I can see. Personally, I haven't played this game because it's not my type of game. Some of my friends play it though. I do enjoy the TikToks and fan art the community makes, and I think it's a very beautiful game. Like, even going to their official webpage is quite an experience. But this video is not about the game. I also want to add that I'm going to be referring to this person as Prince because that's their name on Twitter and DeviantArt. But there's like tons of users with the same name on tons of social media, so just know that. Okay, so what's the situation? At the end of last year, Genshin Impact's 2020 Winter Art Contest was announced, running from December 18 to December 27. From what I can find, it was a Win 13 fan art contest, and all you had to do was post your art on Twitter before the 27th with the hashtag Genshin Impact and hashtag Genshin Winter, and then afterwards fill a Google form. Now, I can't see what that form said anymore because it's obviously closed now, but I'm gonna assume it has some sort of terms and conditions since I couldn't find them anywhere else. There would be 50 winners who would get a blessing of the Walking Moon, which as far as I can tell is a subscription that is worth $5, and 3 top winners would additionally have their art retweeted. So it wasn't like big monies or anything like that, but I think this goes beyond how much money they won. I mean, the money was part of it, I guess, but I think it was beyond that. I want to add that the art that was traced was not one of the top 3. The top 3 are actually very beautiful pieces. I recommend you check them out. I will leave a link to the Winter Art Contest info with them. The winners were announced January 1st through a tweet, and you'll see there's a link of the 50 winners, in which coincidentally the first one on the list is the person we're discussing today, Prince. This came to my attention because one of my best friends told me about it and how there was a person in Reddit defending the tracing, which we'll get into later. But at the moment, I didn't pay much attention to it since I was working. When I read the message and based on what he told me that person has said to defend it, I thought it was like someone tracing a post and then building up on it with their own clothing, hair, etc. Since at that point I didn't even know there were 50 winners, I just imagined a completely different situation. By the way, I'm heavily basing all of this in a Reddit thread Kibo posted on our Genshin Impact. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, I imagined something different, so when I opened it, I was actually surprised at the art I saw. Mostly because the red background burnt my poor sensitive eyes, but also because to me, it does have those early DeviantArt days traced art vibes. It actually reminds me of that artist I mentioned in my other tracing video that did the Sailor Moon art. I usually wouldn't criticize someone's art like this without their consent, but since they enter it in an art contest and it's traced, I don't feel so guilty. It has a lot of things I personally don't like, but hey, maybe some of you do, and that's fine. The red backgrounds, for starters, I feel just destroys whatever color palette attempt there was in the character. The texture in the pants looks incredibly off, and the shadows are too dark for my taste. So I was obviously shocked this had won an art contest when I've seen so much beautiful Genshin Impact art out there. What I mean by giving this critique is that I can see that this is someone relatively new to art, and I was also curious to see the other entries. I can usually tell they are sort of new to this, at least digital art, because I used to look through portfolios to hire new artists in my old job, and you kind of start getting a feeling of artists like that. But anyway, that's not important, I'm rambling. Now the original one is this one by Twitter user at P5MRGN, and you can blatantly see the tracing. Like, there was just no denying it. If we put them side by side, you can see every line is exactly the same in the clothing, the hands, just a few added details. On the cropped hand, you can even see the phone has the same texture. So yeah, this is not a case of are we sure this is traced or just heavily referenced. This was unashamedly traced and submitted to an art contest. I actually went through their now deleted Twitter and DeviantArt, and yeah, all of their art has a very traced feel. It kind of threw me back to like 2006 DeviantArt or something like that, where I would see traced art all the time. Like very blatant tracing from anime screen caps. Actually, DeviantArt might still be like that. I don't know. Also, all of them have that red background, which confuses me so much. Like, why red? Seriously, my eyeballs. Additionally, apparently, the hair was traced too. I just saw someone posted, which was like the redeeming quality of it. So Krita Prince also posted before on our Genshin Impact that someone had stolen this piece and was selling it as stickers without their permission and was asking for help on what to do, which obviously is not cool, but it's a massive hypocrisy seeing as they stole the art in the first place. Anyways, Krita Prince did offer a defense, and I'm gonna read it to you right now, and then we'll talk about it. Hey, so I'll explain everything here first. I know basically everyone will find me the asshole, so I ask you read everything. This art was not monetized. I see a lot of people complaining about it, and I want to let it clear. I didn't earn any money from this, and I don't intend to. I drew it like that to train. I draw on paper since I was 6, so I'm used to draw with a pen. Sometime last year, I decided to try digital, but I don't have a drawing tablet, so I did with my fingers. Last year, I got a Galaxy Note 10, and it has a pen. The problem is that the pen is quite small, so I started drawing some drawings I like to train. Of course, I knew I couldn't make money with it, so I just tried to draw them as similar as I could just by looking. I did it since forever, so my hand was good at it, just had to get used to the small pen. So I made myself a challenge of trying to draw something and change the character. It worked greatly. I showed my friends and they said I was doing great and should post it. And I did. I'm not saying I'm 100% original, never said that. Only thing is, like I said in the beginning, I don't make profit off it and don't intend to. It was just for fun and training, no money involved. So I'm pissed at the guy cause he took the exact same image without any effort and sells it. Thing I didn't do, when I posted it, I had like 10 followers and people liked it. In my post, I made very clear that I don't want to make money out of this and I think the other guy shouldn't get any money as well. That said, you can ask me if anything wasn't clear enough. So there's a few things about this that don't make sense. First off, there's nothing wrong with using tracing to learn. I actually have a demonstration on how you can use tracing to learn on my tracing video. The thing is, even if you're not making money, it's not cool to trace someone else's art and post it on social media without showing the reference or tagging the artist. Also, most artists wouldn't be okay with you posting anyway, so if you're gonna post, at least ask first. Now, the whole I'm not making money off of it, yeah, maybe they were not in that moment, but in their now deleted Twitter, it says commissions open. Now, I'm not saying they were tracing commissions or that was the plan. It's just kind of weird considering that all the other art also looks traced. It might not be, I don't have actual proof, but there is style and consistency, and they say in their reply that that's basically what they do. So assuming commissions will be traced is not a stretch, but once again, I don't know. Also, they were kind of profiting off of it. As I mentioned previously, the winner got a $5 subscription, meaning that even if it's only $5, it is some profit. The whole never said that it's 100% original, it's weird. If you post art on a site like DeviantArt, for example, everyone is gonna assume it's just art. If you enter art in a contest, everyone is gonna assume it is your art, especially because I'm sure there were some terms and conditions saying that. I don't say on my Instagram, hey, this is all my art. People just assume that because I'm posting it in a mainly art account. And once again, if you're not saying, hey, this is a study of this other piece and linked to another artist's work, what else do you expect people to think? Genshin Impact's Twitter posted that they received the report and have verified the allegations to be true. In it, they also stated that in their content submission form, they said the work had to be 100% original. So just by submitting it for the content, that's what the artist was saying. There's really no argument there. So what's the issue? Well, for one, this is an art contest. By submitting traced art, this person could have taken the spot of someone who actually put the effort on making art. We also have to take into account that someone got their work traced over it, and that's never okay. Artists work so hard to create their pieces, and by tracing their art and posting it as your own, not only are you disrespecting the original artist, but you're also deceiving people who came in contact with it. Anyone who sees it, likes it, and follows you because of it thinks you're actually producing this beautiful art, but it's actually stolen. Furthermore, if you're offering commissions, the issue becomes even greater. Because if you take the money and trace someone else's art, you're not only tricking your client, but also taking money from another artist who would have done the full work. If you decide, well, this is a commission, so I'm not going to trace this one, then your client might not get what they were asking for. They will come to expect something like the art they have seen before, and you're probably not going to be able to deliver the same quality if you're not tracing. Especially because I feel there's going to be a lot of art style inconsistency, which is not inherently bad. I have a very inconsistent art style, so I usually ask my clients to